Hey, and welcome to Home Impodcast. Today, as always, I'm joined by my beloved co-host, Adam. How are we doing,
Hi,
Adam?
Jordan. How are you?
I'm doing well. And I'm especially well because we're going to talk about one of our favorite comedians today. We're talking about Dave Chappelle and the one time that he surprisingly appeared on Home Improvement and how that led to his first TV show. So we're going to talk about that and why that show failed. But before we do that, we're going to ask people to subscribe to the video, like the video if you enjoy it, and we'll be doing more home improvement centric videos as we keep recording them. So let's get into it for now. Let's talk. I mean, to start with, you might be thinking Dave Chappelle and Home Improvement don't mix. I think we talk about all the guest stars that are on the show. I did not know that he was on the show at all, and maybe at the time you didn't either when we were rewatching.
Yeah, I had definitely forgotten it. It's one of those things where, like, once a year there'll be an article that you see kind of on the home improvement web pages where it's like, oh, so crazy. Did you believe this? Do you remember this? And of course, then I remember it. But yeah, it's fun.
That's what this video is going to be.
It's fun, just like this video. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're talking about on season 4 of Home Improvement, an episode entitled "Talk to Me," where Tim is chatting with two eligible, well, I guess they're not eligible bachelors, but two bachelors on Tool Time.
Maybe they'd like to be. That's it, yeah.
Yeah, they're having problems with their significant others. They come down out of the audience. It's Jim Breuer, it's Dave Chappelle, aptly named Jim and Dave, and Tim's going to give them advice on how to deal with women, an impromptu seminar of sorts, which is, ironic because Tim is struggling in the episode with what he says to his own wife, Jill. So the scene's interesting if you've seen it. If not, you can search that out and find it. But Dave plays Lorraine, and which is Jim's girlfriend, and they do some role playing on the show and tries to listen to Tim's advice and all that kind of stuff. Dave does his white person voice that we're gonna see in stand up in Dave Chappelle, the Chappelle show, which I think is funny. But what stands out to you, Adam, in this appearance? Like why was it so successful for them, and what did that success bring?
Well, I think it's effective because it does something that Home Improvement kind of does well, and that's bring people out of the audience and like kind of get them into the show. It's largely dependent on the personality, but we've seen it before with like Ernest Borgnine and Jack Elam, and that's something that I always kind of like. It's effective, I think, because like it's basically like Dave Chappelle, and to a lesser extent Jim Breuer. I think this video, people will be watching it for Chapelle, probably not Jim Breuer. You're not titling it like, you won't believe the time Jim Breuer was on Home Improvement. No disrespect, he's had a pretty good career, but yeah, Dave Chappelle kind of comes down and you just sort of see the inklings of like a pretty big star doing all of the things that he would do with more time and more effectively later on. So like you said, like the kind of the pop copy white person voice, he's getting really into like, he's just very cool, kind of effortless in sort of his delivery and his jokes. And I think they knew this, you'll talk about buddies in a second probably, but they knew just in this like 4-minute appearance that they had something special with these guys. And I think it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, I think so too. It was very obvious. We talked about the time when we watched it. We thought it was very good. And so it is no surprise, as you mentioned, that ABC loved their performance so much that they turned it into a spinoff called Buddies. 1996, the first episode aired, created by the same people who created Home Improvement. So you've got Carmen Finestra, Matt Williams, David McFadzean, and you've got these two likable guys. They have a great relationship. They're friends in real life. But Buddies does not succeed. In fact, it implodes almost immediately. Yeah. So what went wrong with Buddies? Well, there's lots of different things, and we're pulling a lot from a Vulture article that I'm going to link in the description below. But Jim Breuer, I'm going to wait for that car to go by. Very loud trucks around here. But Jim Breuer was replaced before the show even started, like right before the show was going to air, by Christopher Garton as Dave Chappelle's buddy. So it's weird because it's like the chemistry. I mean, I know they liked Dave more than Jim, but like the chemistry between Jim and Dave is kind of one of the biggest things that was exciting about the show to ABC. I'm reading the article real quick. In the Vulture article, it talks about how the executives were afraid that Jim Breuer would take up some of the scenery, that he would overshadow Dave Chappelle, and that's who they really wanted to get in business with, which I guess is a concern, but just kind of stupid. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I think it's sort of a typical Hollywood meddling and sort of forgetting. The reason these guys work so well in the Home Improvement clip is because of their chemistry. Maybe Dave's is a little bit flashier than what Jim Brewer's doing, but that's sort of why it works. And then you bring in a guy, Christopher Garten, who I'm not familiar with his work. Maybe went on to do some things, though I kind of doubt it. And yeah, the show, it went something like 5 episodes. They shot 13, so 8 were unaired. For them to pull the plug after 5 weeks, it must have been pretty brutal. I think at some point we got to watch at least one episode just to see how brutal it was.
Yeah, I remember reading part of this article, or maybe another article, was like when the Chapelle show was really taking off, they tried to like capitalize on it by releasing some of the Buddies episodes in Best Buy or something. But I don't know how well that went. And then I also read that the creator producer Matt Williams told Chapelle, he'd give him $10,000 if the show wasn't a hit. So I don't know if Chapelle ever collected from that money. But you can imagine the bitter taste in his mouth. One of his best friends just kicked off the show and all that kind of stuff that they had planned. So last thing I want to end with is, in retrospect, Dave Chappelle quote here. It says, "It was a bad show. It was bad. I mean, when we were doing it, I could tell it was not going to work." So, that's not how we felt when we started Home Impodcast. So that's why we're such a big success today.
That's right. I think I feel that way almost weekly, but we've plowed through. We plowed through in a way that Buddies could not. So
that's right. So there it is. How an appearance on Home Improvement led to Dave Chappelle's first TV show, how it crashed. Have you guys seen Buddies? Tell us your thoughts in the comments below, and do not forget to like our video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.